Guys, I had no idea that Orlando was a city. It sounds so stupid to say out loud, but it's just not something I ever really thought about. I've been traveling to Orlando for years, like my whole life, and I've never been downtown. I always just go to the theme parks, and I know I'm not the only one who has thought this. And so getting to be in downtown Orlando recently, it was mind blowing. I had no idea the city was so beautiful. I also didn't know it had so many ghosts and UFOs, which is what I'm going to be talking to you about today. Over Christmas week, Shane and I traveled to Orlando, Florida to visit my family, my dad's side of the family. So every other year, they book the penthouse suite at Bonnet Creek. And it's just like a really fun space to be and visit family. And we can all just spend the holidays together all in one place. So we traveled in from Rochester, New York. My parents came in from their winter home in Cape Coral, Florida. My grandparents came from their winter home in Clearwater, Florida. And then I had like family from Oklahoma, California, North Carolina, Virginia. We're all over. So it's just really nice that we get to, come together as a big group and just be all under one roof and just have a lot of fun in the Disney area. And just before our trip, Shane and I were approached by US Ghost Adventures about taking one of their ghost tours. Orlando immediately felt like the perfect place to do it because the weather is beautiful. And if we did it here, like ghost tour in Buffalo, I didn't want to do it in the snow. So Orlando just was, somewhere that we could be warm and like enjoy. And like I said, I've been visiting Orlando most of my life, but I've never been downtown. So I was really intrigued. And honestly, downtown Orlando just completely surprised me. There were cobblestone streets, historic buildings, Christmas lights, lively bar scenes. And it just reminded me so much, honestly, of my days in Minneapolis. Like there was even a stretch of the tour where I was like, oh my gosh, am I walking down Nicollet Avenue right now? And downtown Orlando it's just beautiful. And I did not realize it had so many like UFO and ghost sightings and stories all right there. So it was just really, really cool to hear about like not only the history of downtown Orlando, but also that side of it. And what I also didn't realize until this tour is that downtown Orlando, like that was the destination long before Disney and Universal ever existed. So people once traveled all over the world to visit the city itself. So when the theme parks came, everything just shifted. Businesses downtown struggled. Some buildings were neglected. Certain areas just fell quiet, right? And it's not something you think about unless you're like walking those streets at night and hearing that history firsthand. It was amazing to see like how many buildings were closed, shut down, a lot of bars and restaurants just because they can't keep their doors open because people are no longer going to downtown Orlando. They're going to the theme parks, which is what I've done my whole life. And I never really thought about it from that perspective. Okay, but enough about that. Today, I really just wanted to talk to you about the ghost tour and share with you some of my favorite stories that we learned on the ghost tour. Not to give a lot away, but just to kind of show you, like, here's a couple of the stories you can hear on the tour. Here's what we learned. Like, here's the fascinating stories of downtown Orlando that you might not hear anywhere else, just to kind of get you pumped up to want to take one of these tours. And if I haven't mentioned already, US Ghost Adventures is based in a lot of major cities in the US. So if you're not going to Orlando, then I highly suggest you check them out and see what city is near you so you can take one of these tours because they did such a fantastic job. And we are very, very thankful for partnering with them on this video and on the blog. Okay, our first stop of the night was the Angebilt Hotel. And it was actually built with 13 floors, but now it has 11. And there's a long-standing story tied to a hurricane that caused catastrophic flooding. I'm not sure how long ago this was. I can't remember the date that he said. Like I said, this is why you need to take one of these tours because I'm just going to share with you bits and pieces just so you can be like, oh, wow, that's so cool. I want to go. All right. So anyways, this hotel, when the hurricane hit, which happens a lot in Florida, guests took shelter in a ballroom to wait out the storm, but the storm hit the upper floors. So the upper floors actually did flood. People couldn't get away from it. And the walls collapsed. People were swept away. Some say no bodies were ever found, which kind of fuels the theories that, oh my gosh, these people were taken to another dimension. But eventually a roof was built over the floors that remained. So that's why instead of 13 floors, it's now 11. So if you look at the building, you can see it is 11 floors, but one of them is underground. And they call this building Orlando's True Tower of Terror. So beneath Orlando, fun fact, lies a ton of different tunnels, which obviously this was said to, back in the speakeasy days, a lot of cities had tunnels for these reasons. And one of them is said to extend from the Angelbilt Hotel to across the street at the Beecham Theater. And the Beecham Theater was once the jail of the city, and it was overseen by a sheriff who was known for his cruelty and his racism, and executions were actually carried out in public. And so, they were drawn out with like hanging, lynching, quartering. If you don't know what that stuff is, Google it, or don't. You don't need to know. It's pretty gross. But the crowds would actually come to Orlando, gather to watch these executions, which is one of the eerie reasons why downtown Orlando is the old Disney World of its time. I found that quite fascinating. And then, of course, there was a graveyard behind the jail or somewhere in downtown Orlando. And when the city was being built, of course, people moved the gravestones, but they didn't move the bodies. So that could be a really good reason why there are so many ghosts in downtown Orlando. I loved seeing the old Orlando Railroad Depot, which is also known as Church Street Station, and it is mostly abandoned. It's neglected. So that was kind of fun to see this rundown train station and hear these stories about what's happened at the train station. So that was quite fascinating. And then there is a building across from the railroad depot, which served as a brothel back in its day. And many women obviously became pregnant at these brothels, but they couldn't keep the babies because probably of the contracts that they signed or something. And, they didn't have like birth control back then or probably abortions. So those babies that were born, they were taken and dumped or tossed or disposed of. So a lot of people say in that area, they can hear babies screaming and crying. So that was a little haunting to hear at night. But that brothel was later became a restaurant called Ceviche. And reportedly one of the members of NSYNC owned it. So fun fact, but I won't give too much away. I do want to mention that Orlando is said to sit on some very powerful ley lines, which are energy pathways lined to attract unexplained activity. And we learned that there's actually been over 8,000 UFO sightings in the Orlando area in the last 20 years, which is just fascinating. I had no idea. I had no idea that UFO sightings were a thing in Orlando, but apparently they are. I'm wondering, is it the constant glow of theme park lighting reflecting into the sky, or is it just something else that's drawn to the energy of the city? So it really makes you think. And then also you get to see the really cool courthouse where Ted Bundy was tried for the murder of a Florida girl. So that was really fascinating to see. Like, I would love to go into the courthouse. I guess they have some displays about Ted Bundy and stuff like that. And I just recently watched the Ted Bundy movie with Zac Efron, which was really good. But according to the tour, the ghost of his final victim appears in almost every photo but mine. I did not see her in my photos, but apparently she does appear in photos, and they've actually put iron in the courthouse, which is supposed to contain her presence to one area. So whether you believe it or not, it is quite interesting. So for the tour, we were given an EMF activity detector, which was actually really fun to use and walk around with. The strongest activity we noticed occurred while crossing the street near the underground tunnels where they're believed to run, which these EMF activity detectors, they're supposed to show you where a presence is or where energy fluctuations are. So it might show you that something is there that's unexplained, not necessarily ghosts, but something different. And for me, like walking with it, I was kind of thinking, because you'd see like the green light, it was always going, but then all of a sudden you'd have a blip of all these colorful lights. And I'm like, this could be where someone passed away. This could be like somewhere on the street where someone died. So there's like that presence there, that energy that left. I don't know. It just makes you think like, okay, I know they're drawn to like metal or copper or something, but it could be something else. I don't know. So it was fun to like actually just use it and walk around with it. So I do highly suggest that you rent one, or at least someone in your party rents one, just so you can kind of walk around with it and have some fun. And many of their tours do offer an extended version. So you can do like the basic tour that's usually an hour long. We did the extended version, which took it up to, I think it was like an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, honestly. And that was really fun just to get like that extended version, hear some other ghost stories, and just see more parts of the city. We love ghost tours, not just because we're chasing scares, but because they're one of the best ways to experience the history of a city. And if that resonates with you, I highly suggest doing one of the U.S. Ghost Adventures tours. Like I said, they operate in nearly every major U.S. city, and they run year-round every day. Every single day, they have times available for you to book a ghost tour, no matter what city they're in. And I also think it's really cool. They have partnerships, or maybe they own the buildings. I'm not 100% sure, but you can actually like rent a room at the Lizzie Borden house, so you can stay a night there, and you can do all of that through their website. And if you're heading to Orlando or another major U.S. city and want to experience a completely different side of the city, I highly recommend U.S. Ghost Adventures. You can use our code DATES10 for 10% off your tour. And be sure to use the link in the comments below so you can book your tour. That helps us out. That helps you out. Makes it easy. And if you go, let us know what you experience. Some cities never tell you their stories unless you're willing to walk them at night. Thank you all so much for watching and for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. And like I said, comment below. Let us know some of your ghostly experiences. Let us know of other tours that maybe you've tried out in different cities that you think we should attend. We love hearing about them. And if you haven't already, be sure to visit our blog, datesinthestates.com. We have done a lot of coverage for different ghost tours. Like you're in Arundequoit, New York, we did a ghost tour for Seabreeze, or in Rochester, we did one for Mount Hope. So be sure to check out those tours. They're just as equally fun. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.